My father was a Baptist minister. He was also a dentist. He was in general dentistry. And my mother never worked. My mother was never employed. Over the course of 20 years, the domestic violence was very prevalent. So he would take a gun and threaten her with it. And towards the end, I remember the day of, he took a rifle and had put it down her throat and threatened her. And she made it out of that. Like I said, it was a brief moment. And my brother, I'm the oldest of 6, my brother right up under me, we made it upstairs and we talked with them. We talked with him. And my mother, she was scared. She was threatened. I saw fear all over her face. And the rifle was on the bed. And my father was sitting there. My brother, we were talking, and I told my brother to pick up the gun and take it back downstairs with us. And he was like, no, he's not gonna do it. He had done this before and he's not gonna do it. There's no imminent danger. And I remember we lived in a tri-level home. By the time we made it back down to the 3rd level, we just heard a boom. And by the time I got back up to the foyer, I heard, on the way upstairs, I heard the second shot. And it shook the whole house. And all I saw was my mother slumped over in the chair. And so I had a brief conversation with him. I talked with him. I of course, as any child would, how could you, why? And then his only reply was, I'm gonna do it to myself too. So then I abruptly left the house. I left the house. And my brother, like I said, he's the second oldest. He stayed inside the house. He was the one. I'm not sure exactly what happened after that point. And so I made it out, and he stayed in. He retrieved the gun off the floor, and the firemen came, the ambulance came, the police came. But it ended very drastically. I did question God. I questioned God. I was like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I strayed away for a lot of years because of the trauma. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I had an ex-boyfriend that I was with, and he's from New York State. And so he decided to move back home, and I decided, well, one day we were talking, well, why don't you come join me? The kids are grown now, and why don't you come join me? And so I came and joined him here in Albany. There were things going on, things involved that I couldn't be a part of. And I not only feared for my own safety, I feared, I didn't understand that kind of lifestyle. I didn't understand it. So I ended up leaving without a plan. So therefore, I'm just on the streets, I'm just walking around, and I just mainly sat at the bus stops and just reflected, just tried to make sense of how all this happened. I was looking for an inner peace, the peace that I lost when my parents died, the peace that I lost when I grew up in church. I believed in God, I had a strong faith, but I lost it. I had no idea where to go, what options were available, what resources I had no clue. And then someone directed me to the Capital City Rescue Mission and said, why don't you go to the mission? And the conception I had was that the mission was only for men. I didn't even realize there was a women's building or a women's ministry. I didn't even realize that.
First love, do not listen to the world. It is full of fear and emptiness. For I've come to bring life just for you.
She was so relieved at having peace from God after being in pain and anxiety and brokenness for so many years that she had just a great relief. And she started to have joy, which was beautiful because that's miraculous. Only God can bring joy from ashes that are tragic. And so the depth of her joy and her peace is her testimony.
Take break heart. Even if you fall away, there's a fresh start in the arms of grace. For I've come to bring hope just for you.
When I came here, from the time I came in the front door, everyone was very receptive. They were very friendly, very, wanting to help, wanting to kind of, if you say, kind of rescue me and, give me time and say, no, we don't want you sleeping in the park. We don't want you sleeping at the bus stop. No, you come back and we'll make sure that you have a bed tonight. And that's how my journey began with the Capital City Rescue Mission. That's how my journey began. And Sandra, she runs the overnight shelter for the women. And she came over, and they must have told her I was there. And she came over, and she sat with me in chapel. That was my first chapel service here. And she sat with me in chapel, and she talked with me, and we had dinner. And then she took me over to the overnight shelter. She talked with me over the course of several nights. We talked, and we prayed. And it's funny because most people hear your story, they're like, oh, and no, she's a faithful believer. She's like, Denita, we're gonna get you in a place where, you can get closer to God again. You can get, connect with your spirituality again. And she said, Denita, we're going to get you into New Faith. And that's where I met the amazing group of ladies I live with down the street now. I'm like, these women their faith is so strong. And when you talk with them, they, some people can be in your corner, but these women really have your back as far as prayer. They'll pray with you. They'll sit with you. You talk with them, and they're very genuine. They're very genuine. And I tell people all the time, I knew nothing of this program, but it's a blessing that I was able to come to New Faith. I was able to be a part of it. The Capital City Rescue Mission has done a lot for me, has done so much for me, and it helped me find an inner peace I didn't have. I've been looking for this inner peace for 20, 25 years. I couldn't find it. And I came here, and over the course of the last year that I've been here, that I found it. I have peace when I wake up in the morning. I have peace when I go to bed.
What I think of when I think of Denita is that God makes everything beautiful in His time. And she waited a long time, but God has brought beauty from ashes. And she's a trophy of His grace, and she's ready to step out back into the world and serve and love others and be a light.
Brave one, you are stronger than you know. Never give up. The fight is not alone.